Hello and welcome to Desperate Living Music. Now, an unexpected LP appeared in the post this week. I say unexpected, it was unexpected to me. It had actually been bought by my wife, who had kept it a secret until it arrived. Apparently she ordered this some months ago and it only arrived last week. But let's have a look anyway at Blixa Bargeld Sings David Bowie. So this is the new 4-track EP. Is it an EP? This is the interesting thing, isn't it? I'm going to go off on a quick tangent here. If something's on a 12-inch and it has 4 tracks on, surely that's a not distended play, but you know what I mean. It's not an extended play, is it? Because a 12-inch would usually hold an entire album. So, you know, I get why we call them EPs, but it's never quite sat right with me for some reason. Anyway, this contains 4 tracks performed by Blixa Bargeld and accompanied by Weirdness on piano, and that's basically it when it comes to musical involvement here. It's incredibly minimalist production, just vocals, piano, a little bit of this Bolognese gong is credited as well, but for the most part it's vocals and piano, and very minimalist. Impressively minimalist, has to be said. So there are 4 tracks on here. Lazarus, of course, Bowie's final moment, I guess we could say. Subterraneans, Where Are We Now, and Helden, which is better known, I imagine, to most of you as Heroes. This one, Helden, as the title might suggest, is performed in German and works surprisingly well. You know, German is not a romantic language, as we know. I think languages fit different moods. Ideally, you know, we see like, you know, French is a kind of a romantic language. German is a kind of a shouty language. But Heroes is not a romantic song. Heroes has that kind of epic scope to it, and I think it translates well into German, and particularly when you consider when Bowie had recorded this during his Berlin phase. It works very, very well. The fact that it's stripped down simply to vocals and pianos might be something that you would think would potentially take away some of the epic grandeur of the original, but it doesn't. It makes it something different. And I think maybe by having it in German, that kind of helps a little bit. The other tracks are also very impressive. Lazarus is obviously an emotional piece as it is, and I think this captures that feel. It is the song of a dying man, but it's not performed by a dying man, as best as I know. But nevertheless, it still has that feel of despair, regret. So this is a very impressive piece of work. Now, nobody is going to say that Bargeld is some kind of Johnny-come-lately cashing in on the death of Bowie. Not only was that death several years ago now, so not the kind of thing that people need to try and make money off the back of anymore. But of course, you know, Blixa Bargeld is a well-established, important, beloved musician in his own right, be it from his work with the Bad Seeds or his participation in Einstürze and die Neubaten. I'm actually a much bigger fan of Neubaten than I am of Bowie. I've got rather more of their records than I have of his. So for me, Bargeld is the attraction here, rather than the Bowie songs. Don't get me wrong, I'm not somebody who has a kind of contrarian dismissal of Bowie. He's just not an artist who is a particular favourite of mine, you know, but I admire a lot of his work, certainly the stuff he was doing in the 1970s. Beyond that, maybe not so much, but here and there. So as a tribute album, I think this is genuine, it's sincere, it's impressive, it's very nicely put together. But there is a slight problem, not with the music, but perhaps with the record itself. I guess a little underwhelming. The cover is quite thin. I was certainly very concerned kind of opening up the shrink wrap not to be tearing. The actual disc itself is plain black vinyl. Doesn't seem to be like that's not 180 gram vinyl, I'm pretty certain. It doesn't include any kind of download code that you can then download digital copies of the tracks, which I think these days is, it's not essential, but always feels like a bit of an omission, because as much as you want the beautiful vinyl copy, you also might want copies of the song that you can have in a more convenient way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So whenever I don't get a download code and also don't have access to the tracks on something like YouTube, so you can at least just kind of rip digital copies for yourself, it always feels a little disappointing. These are relatively minor complaints. The content should be king, and if we ignore the relative flimsiness of the cover, then the artwork, it's a great, superbly minimalist and moody piece of cover art, and it sounds great. I can't complain about the quality of the actual record. So this cost €13. We got it directly from Blixa Bargeld. I don't know whether he literally personally put it in the post or not, but from his company. It cost as much again to actually get sent over from Germany to the UK. €13 for this is splendid, but 25 is maybe a tad high. I imagine that it will be available from other outlets as well. So if I find it on Amazon, I haven't actually looked, then I will put an affiliate link in the description below. Feel free to use that. It helps out our channel ever so slightly, but equally I'm sure there are lots of other places that you can purchase this from as well, depending on what your favourite record supplier is. And if you can manage to get it directly from the source, if you're willing to pay that extra postage, if in fact you are in Germany, so don't have to pay like the same price as the record for postage, then very much recommend doing that. So I'm curious, have you heard this record? Do you like it? Are you a fan of Bargeld or Bowie? If you enjoy this kind of video, we've got plenty more coming up. It's been a bit of a slow start here on Desperate Living Music, but there's a whole bunch of albums lined up waiting to be covered. So now is the best time to subscribe, hit the alert bell so you don't miss any of our future posts, and of course if you've enjoyed this one, then why not give it a like? This is still very early days for Desperate Living Music, but it'd be nice to build this channel up and be able to continue covering new music releases, not necessarily new music, as well as interesting classics, stuff from my collection behind me, and whatever else generally comes along. Anyway, I'm beginning to ramble now, so I'll just say thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails.